This episode of Doug's Open Mic is brought to you by Mystic River Acupuncture, ancient medicine for a modern world. For over 30 years, Mystic River Acupuncture has specialized in helping musicians deal with the aches and pains that come from constant repeated motion. For more information, check out mysticriveracupuncture.com. Perks and Corks is located in the heart of downtown Westerly, the home of incredible live music 6 nights a week and world-famous martinis. Want to get from the couch to the stage, as Doug always says? Check out Perks Open Mic Night every Monday. For more information, go to perksandcorks.com. Are you looking for great food at unbelievable prices? Check out Boneyard Barbecue in Ashaway. Whether you're looking for a fun night out, family-friendly entertainment, or a beautiful venue to host your next event, Boneyard Barbecue has everything you can ask for. Find them on Facebook at Boneyard Barbecue.
Welcome to Doug's Open Mic, a podcast spotlighting local musicians, bands, and songwriters.
Hi everybody, DUG here for another episode. Today we have my good friend Zach, who's the owner of Frets, and I've been doing business with Frets for 10 years? 20 years? A long time. I got a couple good stories about the early days. Hey, Zach, say hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So, what's new? So, usually we start off with your early years, and again, I met you when you had Frets in the old place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, back,
You met me probably in, I want to say late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, could be. Right. So one of my favorite Fret stories is that when Zach had this store over by, it's where Longo's is now. What would we call it? What would be a good voice? I don't want to do the old Rhode Island thing of saying by the old 84 High Street. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were across from originally when the shop opened. Kevin Desiree opened it in the fall of 1991. And I didn't work there yet.
Frets was you.
Yep, it was originally owned by Kevin Desiree, who ran Leprechaun Shoe Repair on that same line.
Yep, I know. Yep.
So Kevin had Leprechaun. He wanted to see a repair-oriented guitar shop in town. We had Rossi Music in town, but Rossi specialized in band instruments. And Kevin thought it completely offensive that really like the number 3 guitar in the world, which was made right here in town. Yep. And you couldn't walk into a shop in town and get a guitar serviced.
Yep.
So,
good for him.
Yeah, he had his good friend Mark Wright set up the shop, do all the signage, get the shop going, and it was mostly it was this tiny little spot. I think it was probably about 350 square feet. It was mostly repair benches. There were probably like a dozen refurbished guitars available for sale. We would buy factory seconds and then do the repairs on them and put them out for sale. And I discovered the shop, I think, during my senior year of high school. I graduated in 92. And so in the fall of that year when they first opened, my girlfriend at the time said, "Oh, there's a new shop in Westerly. I was right across from there." And I peeked in and it's mostly repair benches. She's like, "It's right up your alley." I'd started building guitars when I was 16. And so I was always looking for places to go and buy parts. Well, in fact, I went in and we ended up striking up a friendship. And they took me in and started apprenticing me, I think, when I started college.
Didn't you work for Guild for a while?
No.
No?
Mark worked at Guild. Jeff Tugas worked at Guild. Jacques Blanchette worked at Guild. They were all Guild guys. Yeah. And so I was apprenticing with them.
Oh, okay.
But I'd been building on my own for a couple of years. And once I started apprenticing in additional operations, they started using me as a subcontractor doing refinish work because they couldn't do refurnish work in a tiny little shop. So they would send stuff out to me, cracked and broken and exploded guitars. I'd bring this stuff home, put it back together, put a finish on it. And fast forward, I think, maybe my sophomore year of college, the opportunity came up. They wanted me to be the in-house guy. So in January of 94, I became the in-house repair guy instead of an outside contractor. And that year I started learning the ropes of running that particular business and such. I moved it in October around the corner to the wing of the old movie theater. And that was in October of 94. And it finally started making money. Like, I think 3 years in.
I think that's where I ran into you. That one, not the Leprechaun one, but the other one by the movie theater.
At that point, it started making money, and Kevin had just about pulled half his hair out trying to run it in the first 3 years. His goal was to establish it, to plant it, and then have one of the guys take it over once it was profitable. And nobody ever made it profitable. But in that year, I'd made it profitable. So he said to me, he's like, all right, I wanted to see this business. I sunk all this money into it just because I wanted Westerly to have this business, to have a service-oriented guitar shop where you could get your guitar fixed. He's like, that was the biggest thing I needed. And he's like, and you do that. He's like, and you've grown it in ways that I didn't foresee. So he's like, that year, he was like, I'm going to make you an offer. He's like, go home, talk to your family. I was 20 at this point. Go home, talk to your family.
So were you still going to college?
I was still going to college.
Through all this? Oh,
I took a month off of school to build the new shop for him. And so he came to me and he was like, all right, it's making money now. He's like, if you can get it to pay me back everything that I sunk into it by the end of the year, I will hand you the keys.
Oh, wow.
Like all stock and trade. And if not, you can buy it for me for what's left on it. And you'll have a business at 20.
Yeah, really? Wow.
So Kevin set me up. I ended up buying it on February 1st of 1995. And it cost me less than I had in my savings account for school because we really worked to blow out everything in those last few months. And I just had a job.
Wow.
You got a job, you go to work every day.
That's such an awesome story.
So
what led you to wanting to learn how to build guitars at 16 though to begin with?
You know, I was a fine arts student, but I had a fairly broad background. My father was a commercial builder, but on the weekends we were always rebuilding old cars or building reproduction furniture from we had this great big collection of books from Sturbridge Village on building 16 and 1700s reproduction furniture. And we literally would start with 2-inch blocks of wood and then fashion everything down and build everything with no steel fasteners, all wood components. So I really enjoyed the carving. And as a fine arts student, I loved to design. And as a mechanical guy, I loved to tinker with the nuts and bolts of every machine. So, and I loved to sing and play, and it was just one thing that embodied all of those passions for me. So, ironically, I wasn't going to start building on my own. I'd read a couple of books, and you get into something, you go out and you head to the library, you find as much knowledge as you can, and you start sinking your teeth in. So I was a singer from the time that I was young. I'd played trumpet when I was in school.
I played trumpet too.
Band.
Hated it.
And guitar was a chance for me to be able to sing and just accompany myself. So I'd started playing and really enjoyed it. I never went out and bought a guitar. My mom brought one home from the Blue Mitten one time, and there it was sitting in the corner next to the piano for 2.5 years. And one of my cousins came in. We were going skiing for the weekend, and he's like, "Is that a guitar?" I still remember it was February of 1990. It was a weekend that Del Shannon died. And here we are, we're going skiing, and you get up to the mountains, and there's not a lot to do. And so my cousin's like, "Can we take that guitar with us?" I said, "Well, it's my mom's. Why don't you ask her?" So she was like, "Oh yeah, sure." So we packed that thing in the car, and we played guitar all weekend. So he, it's funny, he didn't play for too much longer, maybe a year or two after that, and he gave it up when he started working. But he was friends with Les Paul's grandson.
No kidding.
And so he had all these really neat stories of going to birthday parties and playing with Les Paul. Oh. And so literally just sitting down, mostly what he knew was Pink Floyd bass lines and that kind of stuff, and little Metallica and that kind of thing, and some Ozzy Osbourne. So he's just started teaching me all this stuff that he knew on bass lines on the guitar, and I fell for it. hard. I loved it. So then every day when I got home from school, I'd go and grab that guitar and sit around and noodle on it for an hour or so before I'd do my homework.
Yep,
I didn't have any references. That's why I went to the library and started reading. And so in some of the books that I picked up, I started learning about guitar construction and how it worked. It was fascinating. I'm like taking a mirror and a flashlight into the inside of the body and trying to understand what all the braces were there for and what the mechanics were. It was just fascinating to see that level of refinement in an instrument. So that propelled my interest enough that one of my friends had started building a guitar at school, and he was my bandmate. He'd been teaching me chords and stuff, but Mike was so vain, he would never wear glasses. He really needed like Coke bottle glasses, but he was a good-looking kid, and he knew it. And he would never wear his glasses, even in shop class. So they'd put him on the saw.
It sounds like a recipe of a disaster.
Every time he would pass, he never told the shop teacher you're supposed to have prescription glasses. And every time he passed the saw on this guitar body that he was making, he started with this great big block of ash lumber that he had all the parts. He had a neck, he had a bridge, he had another guitar. Somebody gave him a bunch of pieces to reconstruct. Takes this big body, and he keeps cutting, he keeps cutting, he keeps cutting. Every time he passes the saw, he misses the line by a 1/4 inch. By the time he was done, he had this little piece of wood that about the size of a laptop computer that was too small to fit hardware in any direction. So we start playing, and he keeps borrowing my guitar. And I'm like, what's going on with the guitar that you're building? So he says, well, I kind of screwed it up. So he tells me the story. I said, well, it was a Tuesday afternoon. I'm like, after school, just bring everything over. I'll come down and pick you up. We'll bring you to the workshop, and let's just see what you got. So he brings it all out, and I look at it, and I start measuring the scale length and looking at the block, and I'm like, well, this really isn't going to work. There's not enough wood here to put things where they belong. So I understood how guitars went together before I actually started building. And so that Tuesday, I modeled out something, pulled some of the lumber off the shelf, nice 1 3/4 block of northern pine, and we made a guitar. And by Friday, it had a finish on it, and the next week he was playing it.
Jeez.
So I really got the bug. The next week, I built a guitar for myself, and the week after that, I built 2 more, and then I just took off.
You are like a production factory.
Well, thanks to the Westerly Library, and Popular Mechanics had just done a really interesting article on building a Telecaster that July as well. And so I had a recipe in front of me, and
so these were electric guitars or acoustic guitars?
I started doing.
Yeah, electrics are.
First one was a solid body electric. Yeah. The first one I did for myself was a full hollow. I started with a solid block, and then milled it out and made tone chambers, and then laminated a back on it. So that one was pretty well carved. Actually, Clayton Allen had that one for a long time.
Oh, Clayton, yeah, we had him here. He did a great job. So funny story about Frets. When Frets was moving from where they were by the movie theater to where they are now.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. So he had all this stuff, and he had a brilliant idea. He knew a lot of people. So all of a sudden, we all gathered at Frets, like at 11 o'clock. Probably
on a Saturday. I always moved the shop while it was open.
I would
be open one place in the morning and open at 3 o'clock down the street.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we had about 30 people. And what we did, we all just grabbed guitar cases and guitars, and we just marched down the main street of Westerly to the new place.
We stopped traffic.
We had a parade of people just carrying guitars. And we moved, like a lot of stuff very quickly.
Yeah.
So I just I do another podcast with a life coach called What's Right with the World, where we share positive news stories. And one of the stories from this week was a bookstore in, I don't remember where, but somewhere in America, there was a bookstore that was a community bookstore that everybody loved, but it was a really small establishment. And they raised a bunch of money, and they built or they got their own building, a brand new building, like a little bit down the street, in a very similar situation. And they didn't know how do we get all the books to the other place. They had a line of over 200 volunteers who just handed one book to the other. Yeah. So I thought that was the coolest. I've been talking about that all week. I thought that it was so cool. So it's amazing to me that you did a very similar thing
It was
twice.
funny.
You said
Well,
you've done that both
Brian,
times.
yeah, I think on separate occasions. When I first moved around the corner, when I first moved the shop for Kevin, it was the day before Halloween, 1994, and we literally started the morning. We had just one of our clients volunteered to watch the register, and the last thing to come over to the new shop was the register. And once the register was in that location, the open sign moved over to the other door.
There we go. Then we're in.
Everybody who was around, hey, we're gonna go. You want to hop on the truck with us? And like whoever happened to be around, we went.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we always, whenever I moved to another spot, I would establish the repair shop spaces and move all the workbenches and all the tools, everything first, because everything that I use for tooling and equipment, I also would use for dismantling and reapplying the displays.
Yep.
So I'd always need my workshop to be there and proceed the business anyway.
Yeah.
So I remember when I moved into the first additional shop after that very first spot was where the little poodle grooming place is, if you picture how small that is. And yeah, we moved the whole place in about 3 hours.
So this show, we always like to have some live music, so we got kind of off track here. We usually have a live music segment. So Zach does some original stuff, and he's got his guitar all ready to go. So give us something.
Sure. Well, just like I've always enjoyed putting guitars together and putting anything together, I've also enjoyed writing about it. So this is a song called Trying Not to Fall. I have been trying not to fall. Lord knows you haven't made it easy on me. Sometimes it makes no sense at all. I feel pulled then pushed away, and I don't know what to believe. Is this really real at all? So I'm trying not to fall. I have lost every sense of time. I can't remember when you weren't on my mind. It seems I don't know what to say. And the more I pray for peace, the more words keep slipping away. So here I stay, while I hold my breath for another day. So while I'm trying not to fall, I try not to get excited whenever you call. Just waiting for you to know your heart. It's like watching the flowers grow. The beauty is there from the start. It's a blessing to me, and the wonder is there to be seen. you should come to me today, I think I'd finally know the right words to say. Till then, I'm trying not to fall, and still I pray for peace and hope God will answer my call. So here I stay while I hold my breath for another day.
So this is the first time, I think, it's hard to believe, that I've actually just seen Zach in a guitar in this type. I think every time I've ever seen you, it's always been like bands, at bars.
Because I love making loud noises.
I know, but this is good. I liked it.
I've usually got an electric guitar in my hand. This is me at home banging on an acoustic guitar.
I hadn't seen this before. I hadn't seen this side of you. It was good.
Thanks.
So we're going to make this next bit of verbiage a little bit shorter, because we always try to get 3 live songs in. I don't know if we're going to make it this time, but we at least got one. But so what are you doing now? Bands, gigs, blah, blah, blah.
Bands, gigs. So in the last 3 years, my wife and I have had 3 children.
Well, that's...
And
we
really...
don't need the details on how all that happened.
Well, we know how that happens. However,
so you've been busy.
We've been busy. I still try to keep gigs down to like once a month.
Yeah.
And then I get these occasional supporting roles that I'm trying to play with other people to help them along. And at least once a month, I'm leading like praise and worship music at my church over in Pawcatuck as well. So there's always music going on.
Yeah.
There's a constant outlet. But aside from that, since I had kids, I play more than I ever could play in a day, because we were constantly playing music around the house. All the kids have ukuleles, and as soon as one comes down, they all come down, and we're playing and singing songs.
Oh, my grandson is doomed to be a musician. Just doomed.
It's like it's language. So you want it to be as accessible as a box full of Legos. Yeah. It's just learning the pieces, and then it's fun. My daughter, I come home and she's singing songs that she wrote herself during the day, and it's literally a song that's the story of her day and what they were playing with the kids and stuff, and she'll dance around the room and sing this song. But I have caught her going over to the piano and just playing out little melodies and then singing it to herself, and then 10 minutes later I hear her, she's still singing the same sequence of notes, but now it's a song.
It's like when I was teaching guitar too, somebody said, well, how early can they start? I said, immediately. Doesn't matter. They can immediately. But there are only 3. It's fine. Go.
It's just access.
Yeah, just go.
It's just access. There's a piano on every floor in my house.
Yep.
Because the kids will go to it. The 1-year-old goes over to it and turns it on and sits there and presses out notes. Yeah. I keep an acoustic guitar tuned to an open E chord on a stand in the bedroom, and he crawls over to it, and he sits there, and he doesn't just go bang, bang, bang. He starts at the bass side, then he alternates to the treble, and then he pinches 2 strings at a time and hears the harmony on each. And
never sell them
he'll
short.
be there for 10 minutes at one. Bang, ding, ding. I'm in the other room shaving, and I'm thinking, who's playing guitar? And I'm thinking it's probably the oldest one. No, it's the baby.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Braden, the 3-year-old, he's been up with, we know Dave DeAngelis, and he's been playing. He goes up with his guitar and play on stage with him, and he's doing all the moves, It's hilarious.
It really is. It really is. My daughter Penelope will grab the ukulele when her friends are over, and she'll hand them one, and she'll be like, come on, we're going to do a concert. And they stand on the mantle in front of the fireplace. Dad, watch us. We're going to do a concert. And they just start dancing and singing, and she's singing some song from
they
some
set up
Barbie
all the stuffed animals
on
on the couch? We've had those.
No, it was always people in my living room.
Always people. We've had that too. The whole stuffed animals are all,
We've
watching.
got family, and we're blessed with family and friends around us all the time. And I try to keep the door always open at the house. So they're always having fun doing these things.
All right. Another live song, if you would.
Another live song, if I would. All right, let's see. I'll try to give you something that's
How are we doing in time?
particularly fun to me as well. I've got a love that carries me away, and I've got a song that makes me wanna play. Anytime I'm feeling blue, all I ever wanna do is spend time with you. I've got a song that's ringing in my ears, and I've got this heart that races when you're near. Knowing you're always there makes me lose my greatest cares. I'm so thankful for you. Oh, all I wanna do is spend time with you. Oh, I wanna be with you. Oh, well, you know it's true. I go where the heaven sends me, I flow where the water takes me. Feel the love, you cannot break me. I know you won't forsake me. So take me home, 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 take me home. And I've got a spark that flickers at your name. And when you're around, it turns into a flame. Feeling I am near, near to your soul makes me wanna lose control. Are you feeling it too? Oh, all I wanna do is spend time with you. Oh, I wanna be with you. Oh, well, you know it's true. I go where the heaven sends me, I flow where the water takes me. Feel the love you cannot me. I know you won't forsake me. So take me home, 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 take me home.
Woo-wee.
Oh, man.
So Zach is a no-pick guy. He's just playing fingers and thumbs.
Oh, I can play picks too if you want.
I know you can. I'm just saying for people who are listening, just that was all done. No
You know how
picks.
that's grown out of? So I was always a pick player. So like some of my favorite guitar players are like Brian May and stuff. He played with a coin. I love the idea of a variety of textural effects against the string and how you attack. And the plectrum is a neat thing on its own. But one of the things that happens when you're fixing like 1,500 guitars a year is you're usually scrounging around on the repair bench for a pick, mixed in with your tools and your strings and all your bits. So I started just as a matter of, I need to be able to just pick up the instrument, work with it, put it back down, get back to my tools. And over time, I started thinking about the ergonomics of my approach, how to get better contact and how to simplify it, and how I could get the effects of picks with my fingers. But when you hear guitar players with a pick, you get single notes. But if I had two fingers, I can grab harmonies, I can create chords in these nice little runs of like root and third. And before you know it, one thing led to another. I went from being a flat picker to being like this finger style picker, and it just kind of happened. When I realized I could hit the guitar a certain way and never drop a pick at a gig again, I started thinking, oh, this isn't so bad.
Yeah. My biggest question for you is, what do you remember more? The customer or the guitar? Do you remember people?
Man.
Do you remember?
Do
you remember people buy their guitars, or do you remember guitars by the people?
Over the last, oh man, I've been working at that for like 25 years. When I think about it, when I see the guitar, I remember what strings were on it and all that stuff. That for years I had to go private with my phone number one time because people would, like 5 years into me running the business, they would call me at house on a Sunday and say, "Which strings did you use on this?" And I would know,
right?
But I started realizing, I got to be able to put it down on the off day. So yeah, even with that number of instruments, I still remember what went on it for strings. I remember what I did. Sometimes I'll have something come back 10 years later and I can look at it at a glance and remember the guitar and still see the work on it. I always remember faces, and as soon as I see somebody's face, I remember the guitar that went with it, but I'm still terrible with names 25 years later.
You were able to, a couple years ago, I was buying a present for Dave, and I was buying him a ukulele, and you were able to go like, no, he would like this one because the action on it is like closer to the version of a guitar that he. I was like, "What are you? I don't know what you're talking about, but you know every detail about the guitars that he likes, and like why this would be."
I know weird things about every player's setup in this area. I can tell you just odd stuff. Mark Berauder is a good one. A shout out to Mark.
Yeah,
he always plays. No matter what he's doing, if he's playing like the Elixir bronze strings, he takes a 12-gauge Elixir bronze string, and then he switches out the G string to a phosphor bronze, which has more phosphorus in it, a little more copper, and it's a little harder hit. Yeah. He always switches that out to a 25-gauge phosphor. I don't know anybody else who would take a brand new premium $20-something set of strings and then switch out like $1.50 string into it, a cheaper string, no less, for that one note. But he knows when he hits that note, he wants it to come out a certain way.
He knows what it wants, yeah. So we talk about action. One thing I wanted to kind of, when I was writing my notes up for this show, is that this is another Dougism / commandment. If you have an acoustic guitar, you would be well served to bring it to Zach about every 2 years to have him take a look at it and do what they call a setup.
If you climate control your home, 2 years is a good rotation.
Yep.
If you don't climate control, I should see it twice a year.
Yeah.
Because they're just moving with the weather.
Yeah. So it's wood and everything. So it gives you a couple things. Number one, like Zach says, the wood's moving around. So if all of a sudden something starts to go wrong, it's better that he gets it sooner than later.
Well, and a lot of times it's like a quick 5-minute little tweak, and it's good. It's like when you go into the dentist and you've got like great dental care, and like you walk in, they look at you, they're like, "All right, you're good," and then you get back out of the chair and you're done. But most people aren't having catastrophic issues happen. Every once in a while, when you get a blind spot on an instrument, there's something that we'll see from the outside that tells you when you've got a brace that's pulled loose or some odd thing. Yep. That you might not see, but you're like, man, there's something squirrely in this thing. I can hear a note that I didn't used to hear in the body, and the action's moving a lot more and that kind of stuff. Stuff that you can't see, but we'll see it.
And if you're just starting out guitar, like one of the most common complaints that you hear about people starting out with guitars, like, I started playing guitars, but my fingers hurt and stuff. Chances are the action, which is how far the strings are away from the fretboard, were too high, and that can literally make you stop playing guitar because it's
too low
uncomfortable.
can make a guitar sound choked off and dead sounding. I'm like, man, I really just don't like the sound of this guitar.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just make a recommendation based on the type of strings, based on the way you like to play. There's a lot of different material when it comes to the top wind on the wires. So we can a lot of times find
listen
the
to
voice
all
for
that
you.
stuff.
You are just an encyclopedia and a wealth of knowledge. And we could literally talk to you all day, probably every day, and learn something new. We are overtime at the moment, whatever. Doesn't matter. So like what groups can people find you in right now? Where can people find you? Do you have a schedule?
So the group that I play with normally is the Lazy Sundays. That's me and David Denham. If you find us as a duo, if you find us as a broader group, it includes Jason Rusk and Larry Martinelli. So look for Lazy Sundays. We're around. We do a lot of private event actually.
I love private events.
Private events are great. Oh man, just be surrounded with people that you already liked before you got there.
Oh,
Not that you don't make a lot of friends every time you go out to play, but private events are blast.
They appreciate you more. Yeah.
That's what I always loved about doing weddings. If you weren't family when you got there, you're definitely family after the event. You always remember like the people working at weddings. You just want it to be like everything. So you give them your all and it just makes the day. So those are the kind of things. I think we've got at least one wedding on the books already for next year.
Cool beans.
Awesome. So where can, obviously, Frets, downtown Westerly.
Oh yeah, people can find me down there all the time. And I think coming in the new year, Dave and I are going to be doing the acoustic thing as a duo over at Harbor House in Mystic pretty regularly.
Oh yeah, that's a great place.
So, but we usually you see us there. You'll see us down at Tapped Apple. We've historically done Perks and Corks forever and ever and ever. Though I'm trying to get outside of my shell because when you get to travel, it's more exciting. So we've been doing a few other things like East Greenwich and stuff. So
awesome. Can you play us one more song on the way out?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so this is out. So thanks for coming by. We will have you back soon.
Definitely, guys. This was a pleasure. If I could drink from your well, I might get down to holy hell. It might just be I've been found. In all the world, in all of my dreams, never felt so new and clean. It might just be I've been found. Well, people have always said the Lord works in His own way. But now I'm beginning to think He wants me happy for the rest of my days. With all the troubles of these days, You come and blow my cares away. It might just be I've been found. It's always said the Lord works in His own way. But now I'm beginning to think He wants me happy for the rest of my days. You take the wrongs, you make them right. hold me close all through the night. It might just be I've been found. Yeah, people have always said the Lord works in His own way. But now I'm beginning to think He wants me happy for the rest of my days. I've never felt like this before, but now I know there's so much more. It seems to me I've been found. Seems to me I've been found. Seems to me I've been found.